Hey plot twisters, and welcome to week 2 of Stirring the Plot Twist. This week we're going to be reviewing Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. This book is in two different points of view, Kenna and Ledger. Kenna has just done 6 years in prison for vehicular manslaughter for the death of her then fiance. They'd only known each other about 6 months, and when she did end up pleading guilty to the vehicular manslaughter, she was absolutely devastated and heartbroken, and decided just to plead guilty. Right before she gets sentenced, she finds out that she's pregnant. So she ends up giving birth in prison, and they immediately take her baby away from her. She doesn't get to hold her or anything like that. And then she has all of her rights taken away, and she is now being raised by Scotty's parents, who is her deceased fiance. She did only meet his parents one time. So she does her 6 years in prison, and when she gets out, she goes back to the small town in which they're from because she wants to meet her daughter. So needless to say, the Scotty's parents are very apprehensive. They don't want her to see her daughter, have anything to do with her, anything like that. The other point of view is Ledger, who is Scotty's best friend. Scotty is who passed. It was his best friend. So Ledger and Kenna had never met prior to her coming back to the small town to see her daughter. So with that being said, a couple of things will happen in the book that you question Kenna's motives at first. Ledger owns a bar, and she does, in the very beginning, figure out that it is Scotty's best friend who owns this bar, and then some things happen between them. So when Ledger finds out who she is, he does tend to question her motives, wondering if there's an ulterior motive there, if she's just trying to get close to him to be able to get close to her daughter. So he helps her out in a couple of different ways. Hopefully you've read the book so that you better understand the questions. But thanks for tuning in. This has been such a wild ride so far. But anyway, before Tara gets here, she's going to be my co-host again today. She did such a great job. We had such a great time the first week. She's coming back again today to review Reminders of Him. So quickly before she gets here, meet me at the bar. All right, plot twisters, we are back in week 2 with my book bestie, Tara. She did such a great job last week. Said, what the hell? Let's have her back for a second week. So we're back with our cocktails. She likes hers hot. I like mine spicy and a little icy. So here's to week 2. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. So this week, might as well sip. Okay, so today we are discussing Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. Colleen Hoover can tend to be a little bit controversial. Some people love her, some people don't. I happen to really enjoy this book, and I cannot wait to get into this because we have not talked about this book at all. But from one comment that she made when I talked to her, she was only a few chapters in, and she's like, Al, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be able to get on board with this. So I am so excited to see where our opinions are differing today, because I'm sure they are. So, okay, let's get into it. All right, Tara, how did your perception of Kenna change? Oh, I want to give you a synopsis of the book really quick. So, Tara.
Yes.
How did your perception of Kenna change from the beginning of the book to the end?
Strictly talking about the book.
Only the book.
Only the book.
Yes, that has to be a thing. We're going to get into the movie at the end, so just the book.
Okay. I didn't like her. I didn't like her at all. It took me to about 70% of the book before I could even give her a benefit out of anything. So,
are you going to pull your heart out and show us how stone cold black it is?
Can I start off with, the book starts off with her pulling up to this town. The first thing she does is pull Scotty's cross out of the road. Who are you to do that? Like, I could not get past my empathy for the parents. I think for Scotty's parents, for the laundries. And so I was a little judgmental of her. I felt like she was saying the right things, but her actions weren't matching up. She goes to meet her daughter, and she's wearing her Mountain Dew t-shirt for the second day in a row. She shows up to give a 5-year-old a teething ring. The book also heavily stresses that she left him there when he was still alive.
Yes,
Can I put
it
that?
does.
And they do that in the very beginning, and it took me a long time to get past that. it took me a long time to get past that.
Okay.
So,
and that's fair. So I read it when it first came out, and I did read it again because I'm like, oh my gosh, is there something that I missed? Why does she have those opinions?
because I have a black heart.
It's just like she doesn't. She has the best heart. But so anyway, I see exactly where you're coming
She
from.
lied to Ledger about her name and like made out with
him. It was her middle name.
A middle name she doesn't go by. And she made out with him for a few times before.
One time.
Was it one time?
It was only one time.
But he's the one that found out and put the connections. Like she did.
No, she did.
He ran into her when she was going to the house, and she's like, I'm gonna go see my daughter.
Yes. So when she was at the bar the first time, and they were going out to they were on their way out to the truck already, and then Roman was like, hey, Ledger. And then she saw the orange truck, and that's the orange truck that Scotty picked her up in, and his best friend's name was Ledger, who she never got to meet because he was in the NFL. And so she did know that it was him.
Yeah.
Before they had their first makeout session. So she did know that it was him. He did not know that it was her. So then
it just doesn't put her in a good light.
No,
it doesn't. Like everything looks like she could have ulterior motives for things.
Yeah. No, I agree. But I think that it took me less time to become more empathetic and sympathetic towards Kenna throughout the book. As it got known that just how hard she was trying to get her back. Yeah. And she was being kind of, I don't want to use the word obedient, but Ledger, when she did go to so she did go to the parents' house and wanted to meet her right now, and Ledger came and got her, and who was Scotty's best friend, who is the guy that her fiance, Kenna's fiance, that right now in the book, we think that she left him at the car accident to die. But she went back into the house. She didn't try to fight him about it. And then he told her to stay away, and she did. He said he would help her get out of town. And so she was being compliant as far as that goes. So I did become I think I became sympathetic for her quicker than you.
Absolutely. I got there. And one quote, it was like, everyone's like Team Scotty, like, Kenna's point of view, she's like, everyone's like Team Scotty, like me and Scotty weren't on the same team. And then I was like, oh, yeah. But I think we talk about the letters probably later on, and so...
We do talk about the letters later
so
on.
we'll let it go then.
Okay. So which character did you sympathize with the most?
The parents. Mm-hmm. Scotty's parents. Who, this girl comes into their house, dates their son for 6 months. He dies in this horrific accident, so tragic. She doesn't give them like an apology in the court or anything like that. And then also they're raising now, grandparents raising their only child's child. Mm-hmm. And then so after 5 years, she comes back in and they're so scared. What's going to happen? Are they going to try to take her? Are they going to try to do all that? And I think that I couldn't get past that point. Point to like her enough to root for her just yet. I did get there. It just took me a long time in the book to do it.
So I sympathize with them too. I sympathize with everyone, actually. Like, especially as Ledger started falling in love with her, I'm like, oh my gosh, what a conundrum. And then the parents, like Tara just said, they were raising their only child. And so now 6 years later, you've got her coming back. They're wondering, is she going to try to take her? But she did sign off all of her rights, so she really didn't have any rights to do that. But so I did sympathize with them as well. But I did sympathize with her, especially as it got into it. So she gave birth in prison, and she didn't even get to hold her daughter. She was a preemie. They came in and took her, and she never got to even hold her. So I'm not going to say it, but I did sympathize with, I think, Kenna the most.
No, that's fine. But I think I couldn't sympathize with her, and I think that's why it took me so long to like her in the story. Because it wasn't even that I couldn't sympathize with her. I was judging. Allison calls me Judgy McJudgy. I was judging her actions. Mm-hmm. Because I was looking at, are you really just trying to get with Ledger just to get your daughter back? You're looking at it as in, her sole intent was to get her to see her daughter. I understand that. But has she thought about everyone's lives that she's disrupting and the stress there?
And I'm sitting here going, oh my gosh, it's his best friend, and their daughter's going to be raised by his best friend, and it's true love, and they didn't even... Love prevails!
Yeah.
Do you think she deserved forgiveness?
Yes, I do think everyone deserves forgiveness, but I think it takes a big person to forgive. Mm-hmm. I think everyone does, I think when you forgive someone, I want to believe when you forgive someone, you are forgiving someone for yourself, not necessarily for the other person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because sometimes
sure.
the other person isn't worthy of forgiveness. I do think Kenna comes around where she is worthy of the forgiveness. But I think your forgiveness is also part of Scotty's parents' healing process too, was be able to grant that.
So there's another question in here that I want to go over right now because it is... Okay, so I too think that obviously she deserves forgiveness. Yeah. You know, even if it's just for the parents. But then the ending, it does come to light that it wasn't exactly as black and white as it led you to believe in the first probably half of the book, 60% of the book. But do you think that forgiveness is necessary in the healing process?
I would say yes. I guess everyone's healing process and their journey is unique to them and what that looks like. But I would think that healing or forgiveness would need to be in there, whether you're forgiving yourself or someone else, to play a role in it at some point. No matter, I don't know how significant in everyone's role it is, but I think it's still a factor.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't forgive very often, so I don't know.
I know, same. I'm like, no, I will hold a grudge forever.
I forget quickly, but I don't always forgive.
Yeah. I think exactly what you just said earlier, I think you did put it very, very well, that it is necessary for the healing process more for yourself than necessarily, I guess it depends on the situation as well, but it should be in the healing process for yourself, not to help someone else heal. Yeah. And if you're not ready, don't do it till you're ready, right?
Yes.
Okay. And which way do you think that grief affects each character?
I think it affected them all.
Mm-hmm.
5 years from losing your child is not, that's a blink of an eye.
Mm-hmm.
Even like your childhood best friend. I did like the way that Patrick, Scotty's dad, had made a comment. So I will say Colleen Hoover has a bunch of great quotes that you like read and you're like, oh, let that simmer in my heart for a minute and think about. And one of them was like to Ledger, Ledger was trying to root for Kenna at this point. And the dad was like, don't ask me to forgive somebody. I can't remember how it went, but it was like, you're asking me to forget about someone who has hurt me so badly. Mm-hmm. And he just, like you said, he wasn't there in his grief. He wasn't ready to do that forgiveness yet. He was, but it was.
Because 5 years would not be a lot. And it was 6. She was 5. Yeah, the daughter was 5. She was in prison for 6 years. Okay. Which, when you think about it, she pled guilty to vehicular manslaughter. So when you lose a child, 6 years is not a very long time when you have that black and white picture of she left our son to die. Yeah. You know, so I don't really, at that moment of the book, I don't know that I would have felt like justice had been served.
But I think the dad's saying that, and then by the time the end of the book comes, you can see even his forgiveness and his grief process in him, you know, moving along with his own life. Yeah.
Were Kenna's actions before the accident forgivable? And we've already went over this, but how did they impact your view of her? So her actions before the accident.
I could chalk up young, in love. Accidents happen. Even if they're preventable, they're still accidents. They're still tragedies. I couldn't get past the part where in the book, they just say she left him. He crawled out of the car, died alone. The police found her. Then, like, she just was driving and they found her in her bedroom sleeping it off. That was really hard for me to get past because I couldn't see remorse in those actions. And I think in the beginning of the book she was saying things and you could see her thoughts, but I don't think her actions went along with those thoughts.
Yes. And I do. I do totally agree with you. But then it comes to light that, so he was upside down in the car had tipped over, and she was feeling his pulse on his arm.
Yes.
And his arm was cold, and he had no pulse and whatnot. So they're like in a secluded area where there was no traffic. So she leaves to go try to find help, and it turns out that the car had landed on his arm, and there was no blood flow to the arm. And so that's why there was no pulse and whatnot. So in the book, it does say she left and went to try to find help, and then she just kind of blacked out. Right, that was
threw herself in the book. She threw herself in front of a couple cars. Then she
nobody stopped.
She's like, if I can just get back to my apartment on the 4th floor, I can't live without Scotty. I'll just jump. But she woke up with a pool of blood by her head, so she thinks that she fell in her apartment and knocked out, and that's why.
Spoiler alert,
Yes.
that does not happen in the movie.
There's quite a few things that didn't happen in the movie. But one other point to that was that once she was in court, she found out that Scotty was still alive. And she said, I just shut down because I could have prevented this. And so that's why she was saying she was incapable of giving the apology or saying what happened, because she felt like she did deserve the time. But you don't read that in the letter until later on in the book. So again, I did get there. It just took me a while to get all those facts.
Did you think that that Scotty's parents were justified in keeping Kenna away from their mom? Or from her mom?
Yeah, I do in the beginning. I think that that's your fear of what is this other person's intentions. Mind you, they had only met Kenna a few times. They didn't know her.
I think they'd only met her once.
So I think that they, of course, would be wary. I think it's easy for all of us to say, oh, the bigger thing, the healthy thing to do is this. But I don't know if I was in that position, what I would do. I would need a minute to say, oh, this girl just randomly showed back up in our town, took my son's memorial marker off the side of the road, shows up pounding. I can't get over it. Like, the audacity of that. If I was that parent, that I would just be like, so here she comes chasing after me in the grocery store parking lot. Like, no, I would be making lots of assumptions too, right? And I would be making those assumptions on what's the best for DM. I think, eventually be like, no, you do deserve this, but I would need to be able to trust you as a person too, to be around my grandchild.
Yeah. So I do agree with that too. We're going to agree on a lot of things.
Yes.
But yes, so I would have been extremely hesitant as well to let her, especially when she comes like running up to the door, knocking on the door, and then Ledger lives across the street from them and is a huge part of DM's life, of the daughter's life. And so he comes running across the street, snatches her up, takes her to like by the garage door that's attached to the house. And the mom comes out and Ledger's like, go back in the house, go back in the house. And so I think that she was already fearful of what was going to happen, what she was going to do. Yeah. They were very fearful that she was going to come and try to kidnap her and take her away.
Right.
You know, so I agree that I wouldn't have been very forthcoming with letting her see her and meet her right away either. Would you have made the same decisions if you were in Ledger's position, as far as the decisions he made about starting his relationship with Kenna?
Yeah, because I think that if yes. Yes. Can I like Ledger? Let Ledger have what Ledger
I like
wants.
Ledger too. I like Ledger more once the movie came out.
Yes, like at one point in the book, he was like, kind of was like, he pinned me against the wall and had one hand on each side of my head. I'm like, oh, that's a power move. Yes, thank you. Do you know what that would do to me? Like, yes. Give Ledger whatever Ledger wants. Ledger. Give him what he wants.
Oh yeah, the girl. So yes, the neighbor girl.
Lady Diana.
Lady Diana.
Yeah.
She would call him Ledger.
I think also once Ledger found out, you could see his struggle right away between what he thought was right and what he felt. And so there was that. At one point, she even says, you know, I'm sorry, Scotty, but consequences be damned, I'm doing this, you know.
Yeah.
So
and then the thunder hit.
Yeah.
Okay, how did the letters, so in the book she keeps these journals she had over 300 letters in these journals that she would write to Scotty with the intent of someday, didn't she say, I think she wanted to like put them in a book for their daughter. How did the letters that Kenna wrote Scotty add to the story?
I thought a couple different things.
Same.
One, it backed my theory of you're writing in prison, Scotty, all these things. Did you write an apology letter to the parents? Did you write a thank you to the parents raising your child for 5 years?
Not the same. I didn't think of that.
But I think it played a huge role because it captured her in the moment vulnerability, and it was able to capture her honesty with Ledger about this book and not hiding it. And I think it was very therapeutic for her to write these things down. But also kind of a timestamp. I think it helped everybody understand her a little bit better, going back and reading some of those stories.
So I liked the letters for that same reason. I wasn't like, did you write a letter to the parents? Did you?
Well, I figured because there was so much letter referencing, they would have done that. Like, oh, maybe, you know, Grace and Patrick don't want to hear from me because they never responded to any of the letters I wrote. Like, so if she wrote them a letter, I would have thought that it would have been mentioned in the book.
Yes. So the thing that I didn't like about the letters, or the letter.
Oh, the timing.
Oh my gosh. So the first time that Kenna and Ledger are together, for younger ears possibly watching, she immediately goes to this notebook and is like, Scotty, sorry, I just slept with your best friend.
But then she reads it to Ledger, like,
yeah, because he's like,
it was great, but no one can compare to you, Scotty.
I know, and then he's like, you're just being nice, right? No, that was super awkward. I'm like,
it was, but I thought that it led to like the honesty between their relationship for it. But yeah, I did think that. Well,
I don't think she ever clarified which one she thought was better.
No,
but yeah, it was quite strange, that particular letter. But he knew about the letters because there was also a letter in there that she wrote all about that night. So in the book, that's how you start to piece together what exactly happened that night, is because she's reading the sequence of events to Ledger. To Ledger, which he reads and almost needs a moment afterwards, because he's like, oh, now I'm having a
and I think that's
moral
what
dilemma.
clicked with him and his friend Roman's comments of, wait, maybe I have built her up to be this villain, this evil person, intentionally leaving my friend. And so I think it gave him some clarity and it gave him a reason to re-examine the way he thought of her and gave him permission to like her again.
Okay, it'll come back to me. It was about Roman. We can edit this part out. It was about Roman. He said something, the book, the letter.
But do you think, okay, once we record, I have a thing.
Okay, go.
Do you think though her writing those letters to Scotty for 5 years makes you build up who Scotty is? Again, 6 months. I know you're in love, but 6 months, like in a 22-year-old's life, you know. Do you think that she remembered him through those letters and writing to him and kind of built him up into maybe somebody that she didn't really know, but that she has kind of molded in her head of what she thought Scotty was, or what she wanted Scotty to be to her? Was that an odd thought?
Well, not odd. I think I'm just going with me personally. Like, we bought a house together after 6 months.
My husband made me wait 10 years, so you can see the difference in our point of view.
Oh, I'm like, 6 months? This is long enough. We should live together forever. I'm recanting last week's statement, too, about something. We'll get to that at the end.
Okay.
Did you think that the ending was realistic and satisfying?
I thought it was realistic that they didn't want to disrupt DM. So the ending, her and Ledger get together, they live together, but DM still stays with the grandparents and comes over a couple nights and stays the night a couple nights a week. So I do think that was a healthy transition, I guess, to not disrupt her too much. It's not like all of a sudden, I'm your mom now and I'm 24/7 changing your life in a 180. I think the ending where she met with DM for the first time, I did see her growth, that she was the way I did really appreciate the way that she was talking to DM, going from someone who's bringing a 5-year-old a teething ring to giving her the space to process what was being said.
Yeah, she did. I loved the ending. I thought it worked out well for everybody.
Yes.
They stayed living in the house across the street. So another good thing in the book that I thought was super cute is every morning DM, the daughter, would go outside and wave to Ledger before, or run up or across the street and give him a hug every single morning before he would go to work or before she'd go wherever. So that was super cool. And then they lived across the street, so they could see her whenever they wanted, but for the most part she stayed with her grandparents and then came over to Kenna and Ledger's a couple nights a week. And then they ended up having a little baby, Kenna and Ledger did, and named him Scotty.
What full circle, right?
It was.
And that is like everybody loves Scotty.
It.
We're all being vulnerable. We're all talking about this tragic accident and moving forward. Like Grace, the mom, Scotty's mom said, we're just moving forward from here.
Yeah.
Like we're all just moving forward from this point. And I think the ending showed the forgiveness piece for all parties involved. You know, Kenna forgiving herself, Ledger forgiving himself, and, you know, of it's my best friend's girlfriend, you know, all those things. But the parents forgiving Kenna too.
So I'm going to go back because I remembered what I was going to say and then I lost my thought. Okay, so when she reads Ledger the letter explaining everything that had happened that night, and then how devastated she was and how she had to learn. Because the end of that letter, it said there's no before Scotty, during Scotty, or no, there's a before Scotty and a during Scotty, but there's no after Scotty. And so it just kind of showed you her devastation with it. And then Ledger said, hugged her, and then he started crying, and she was crying, and he apologized and said, I'm sorry for your loss. That was devastating. And that's when she started crying and said, you're the first person to say that to me.
Because Ledger is the book boyfriend that you get mad at your own husband for. Like when he's like, hey, what's for supper tonight? And you'd be like, Ledger would already have supper made for Kenna. Like he is like the...
I haven't spoke to Chad since we read this.
So like he is like the ultimate human being.
Yeah, he was good.
And he did make a comment about, in this tragedy of losing my best friend, you losing your boyfriend, then losing their son. Maybe there's enough room in a tragedy this size for both grief and forgiveness. And he was just a very reflective person, I felt like.
Yeah. And I think that everybody, all the characters were better people because of the healing and the forgiveness and the able to just everybody be together. And it was a happy ending for everyone.
And it wasn't just everybody all at once, kumbaya. Everyone had their own timeline of, Ledger feeling this betrayal, like feeling guilty or a betrayal of, am I betraying the Landrys if I go with Kenna, and coming to terms with those things. So I thought that was good.
All right. Would you recommend this book?
I would. I watched the movie after the book.
Okay.
We'll get
to that.
The movie made me like the book a little bit more than what I did. When I ended the book, I would have said 3 stars. 3 stars.
Okay.
It wasn't my favorite. Again, I just had a hard time connecting with the players, with the characters. Colleen did a great job. Like I said, there was a lot of quotes in there that I, highlighted, and I would go back and kind of reflect or see, think about them, let them simmer for a minute and reflect on it. Simmer. Do you like what I did there? But not my favorite. And it's not my favorite Colleen Hoover book. I know that I am in the minority. I know she has a loyal fan base. I'm not trying to upset all of you guys. The way the book started off was too strong of an emotion for me to get over right away to really like the characters until further on in the book.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I did give this one 4 stars. I really liked it, but I like one of the things that I love about Colleen Hoover is that she does take you on this emotional journey where it makes you unsure of how you're supposed to be feeling. Like, I'm mad and sad, but at the same time, like, I really hope there ends up being a happy ending. I hope that they get together, and then the parents forgive her, and they live across the street, and the daughter goes.
So it was the
perfect world.
The ending you would have written.
Yes, it turned out perfectly for everybody, and everybody's happy in the end. So I would have given it 4 stars. So the stars. Now, do you think this book was overhyped, underhyped, or appropriately hyped?
I thought it was overhyped because I didn't.
Yeah,
the book was like math for me. It was meh. So I think it was overhyped.
So
I don't know if I would have finished the book if it wasn't for this book club. I could have walked away 50% in, and then I'm like book invested in this, right?
Yes,
I'm halfway
we do not
through.
quit.
I know, but I'm halfway through, but I just could not get past this Kenna. Couldn't get past her. I didn't see how I was going to get past her.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead, give her. I know that you don't agree, so just give mommy some love because she's wrong.
All right, we got a guest appearance from Briggs today. Like chaos, you're not gonna like this. It's gonna happen probably every time. They were getting groomed last week. That's why you didn't see them. So I kind of did think that it definitely wasn't underhyped. I think that it was probably when it first came out appropriately hyped, but then maybe a little overhyped because it had the movie coming out.
Yeah.
So now let's just a couple of questions just about the movie. Okay. What were she hasn't even seen these questions yet because she just finished the movie this morning. What were a couple scenes in the movie that changed from the book?
Two characters, the parents of Ledger, Mr. and Mrs. Ward, were completely cut out.
Yes.
And I really like them. They are like who I want to be when I grow up.
Yes, they were like in the RV traveling around. They were like super chaotic and like showed up whenever they wanted to.
They just brought some lightness to the book because everything in this book has such heavy themes. So they just kind of lightened up the mood for things that I did enjoy. The parents that they were cut out of that. Also in the movie, I did enjoy the movie. Of course, you're always going to enjoy the movie more after you've read the book because you get the little nuances and things. But they also completely cut out Kenna's mom's role or lack of role in her life. That I think did a lot of explaining of things of how desperate and isolated she felt, that she didn't have anybody else, and as to why she also clung to Ledger so probably quickly because he was her only lifeline.
That was an important part of the book. So her mom she was shitty, super shitty, and Kenna actually reached out to her mom from prison and tried to get her mom to have some grandparents' rights so that when she got out, she could still, not even when she got out, but so that her mom could possibly bring her to see her in prison. And her mom's like, no, you're not dismantling my life like that. And so, her mom was super shitty. And so I think that would have played a big part when she got out on why she,
felt like everything was just on her to do.
Yes.
And probably maybe the vulnerability of reaching out to the parents for the apology or what have you, of just not knowing the right next moves to make.
Yes, and then so there's a part in there, Ledger's actually building a house like 25 minutes outside of town, and that he ends up selling to, there's a guy, he owns a bar in the town in which they live, and this guy, Roman, works for him, and so he ends up selling it to Roman, but while he's building it, him and Roman were building this house, and so while they were in the process of building it, Ledger takes Kenna to go and see this house, and they end up getting real naked in the house. And then in the book, the crazy chaotic parents, Ledger's parents, walk in on him, and it just kind of lightens that mood.
Yes.
Well, in the movie, they have Scotty's dad walk in on them,
and that's how they found out.
So it was super crappy, really shitty way to find out that Ledger was sleeping with her when they still had all of this hatred and animosity towards her. So I did not like that part of the book either.
But I did like
part of the movie.
A different person said it to Ledger, but it was still a kind of a neat, like, I hope you do the right thing. And Ledger's seeking guidance, and he's like, well, what is the right thing? And the other person's like, I don't know, but I hope you do it. Like, so I did like that.
There's no right or wrong. Whatever you choose, I hope it works out.
I hope it's the right one.
So we already know the answer to this, but do you feel the movie gave you more of a sense of forgiveness for Kenna once you were able to see her as a person and not just a book character?
I liked her much more in the movie than I did in the book. I did. I know.
So that's where
I did.
I agree with that when you're able to put the face like an actual, make her a person instead of a book character. But I don't know that I would have finished the movie if I wouldn't have read the book.
Yeah.
I thought the movie was super boring. So Coho, you are 0 for 2 for me. It ends with us.
I like the ends with us. Either. Like that one too.
Ew, not me. Stick with books. But, so no, I didn't really love the movie. I thought it was very slow going. But actually, now that you say that about Ledger's mom and dad, that might have made it a little bit more upbeat, more fun. So, okay, well, that is going to do it for week 2, Reminders of Him. And next week, we are going to be, it's way down there. Oh. The Great Alone is going to be next week. We are going to meet our historical fiction fan, Erin, is going to be joining me next week.
That's going to be nice.
So, yeah, she's excited. And so we will see you next Sunday.